Good morning, Team 10. The Command Chief and I are happy to have you again with us this week. And what we want to do is just continue the dialogue. We want to keep the conversation rolling, give you an update on how the week went last week, and then give you a little bit of a sign of what may be to come in the future, and give you an update on our two big institutional priorities. So as I did last week, what I want to do is I want to start outside the wire. We'll start with kind of what's going on in Colorado. I think by now you've probably read the article, or maybe you watched the news conference with the governor. The stay-at-home order for Colorado is going to expire on Sunday night at midnight, and it's being transitioned to a safer-at-home order. And so that does not mean that we're back to pre-COVID operations norms, but what that means is we're going to continue to do a lot of the things we've been doing. We're just going to open up a few more things. I say we, the state, is going to allow some things to be opened back up. I'm still expecting restaurants and bars not to be opened back up, but things like barbershops and some curbside delivery for retail and some small things like that can be reopened to kind of get things moving again based on how healthy folks remain and how the utilization of hospital resources remains at a very manageable level. So be cognizant of the fact that it's not the same everywhere in Colorado. There are some places that it's a little more restrictive. The stay-at-home order actually lasts a little bit longer, like in Denver County. But here in El Paso County and Colorado Springs, we are mirroring exactly what's happening with the state. And so again, that's going to expire at midnight on Sunday night. So you'll start to see some things kind of get back to normal next week. But as things do get back to normal, continue to take the same precautions. Wash your hands. Don't go out if you're sick. Wear your face mask. Continue to take those same precautions that you did before, especially if you have someone at home or you yourself are part of that vulnerable cohort that could potentially get sick. So I want to just make sure that you're continuing to pay attention to that as well. I did speak to the mayor yesterday, and a good update from Colorado Springs. Things are looking good. The utilization of hospital resources remains very, very manageable. The total number of people that are hospitalized as a direct result of COVID is a pretty small number right now in Colorado Springs. So the steps that you're taking and your fellow Colorado Springs citizens are taking are absolutely having an effect. And so things in Colorado Springs look pretty good right now. At our other installations around Colorado Springs, Pete, Cheyenne Mountain, Schriever, and Fort Carson, I can say the same. I can report the same. I talk to the installation commanders there often. The health of their force remains strong. They continue to see good results, and they continue to be able to accomplish their mission because of the health of the force remains strong. So good update from our other bases in Colorado Springs. Here at USAFA, again, our two priorities, protecting the force, the health and safety of our force, and then getting the class of 2020 to graduation. So I'll start with the first priority, the health and safety of our force. It remains strong. I can report to you that over the course of the last week, we've continued to do well. Our curve remains relatively flat. We haven't had a COVID positive confirmed case of anyone on USAFA in over 2 weeks. So that's a strong indicator of the health of our forces is looking good. So keep doing what you're doing. The efforts that you're making are absolutely having an effect, and it's allowing us to have that conversation about kind of starting to return some things back that we've had to sort of restrict due to social distancing. So continue to keep doing what you're doing. Wash your hands. Keep your hands out of your face. Don't come to work if you're sick. No potlucks. All the things that we've been doing for the last couple of weeks. The teleworking, we want to continue to do that because it is having a huge effect, and it's keeping our population and our force safe. We are going to extend the public health emergency. The local surrounding area is still in a state of emergency. All the other bases are. When you declare a public health emergency, it's good for 30 days, and it's set to expire tomorrow. So we're going to extend that for another 30 days. Don't get alarmed as if to think something has gotten worse. It hasn't. As I'm reporting to you, absolutely is just the opposite. Things have gotten better, and we want to keep them that way. So we're going to extend that public health emergency for another 30 days. So you'll be seeing that pretty soon. Our other priority, getting 2020 to graduation. Mission accomplished. Congratulations. Thanks for all that you did to play a role in that, to take part in that. We found out at the beginning of last week that the Vice President was going to be here in person, and although I think the ceremony looked very much like it would have had he not been here, obviously when the Vice President comes, things amp up naturally with regard to security and so on and so forth. So from the defenders that secured the base and secured the area, to the setup that took place from the stage, to the comm, to the clearing of the snow, to the platinum sashes that the first Space Force graduates wore, to the masks that they all were wearing at the end of the ceremony. Holy cow, Team 10, you came through in a big way. And so I just want to say thanks. Thanks for all your efforts to get us to graduation. A monumental accomplishment, sincerely. So what comes next? That's the logical question to ask. So I'll start with our first priority, health and safety. We're going to watch for guidance that comes down from the Secretary of Defense. We're going to watch for guidance that comes down from the Department of the Air Force. Of course, we'll watch what happens in Colorado with our fellow bases, with our local towns and cities that we live in. So we're going to be in tune with all of that. We're going to make sure that our planners are in sync with what is coming down from higher. And we're not going to get out ahead, but we're also not going to lag behind. We're looking at this week, taking a hard look this week, our planners are, at what are some things that we can potentially start to do, just like they're going to start doing in the community. Are there some things that we can potentially open back up safely, and perhaps with some additional restrictions built in? But we're looking at all that. No decisions have been made, but I wanted you to know that this week we are looking at that. The mission. So getting 2020 to graduation was a huge part of our mission, but the mission goes on. Right, there's still the lower three classes are continuing to take class all the way through a good portion of the month of May. So the lower three classes continue to learn virtually from around the country, and some that remain here on the campus. And so the mission will continue. What this summer looks like, don't know the answer to that. There will be an I-Day for the class of 2024. There will be a BCT, but right now, what that actually looks like is still being planned out. So no decisions have been made how the summer is going to look. But what I can assure you is there's teams that are looking at that, and as soon as we know more information, we'll make sure that everyone is kept abreast of how things are going to shake out both this summer and then on into the fall and really for the next academic year, because those are all things that are being considered right now. Okay, I think that brings us up to speed on current events. I want to turn it over to the Command Chief to offer a couple of thoughts, and then we're going to answer some of your questions.
Awesome. Thanks,
Chief.
sir. Hey, good morning, Team 10. Again, I want to echo Colonel Hartless's words. Hey, thank you. Thank you to each and every one of you for, again, getting the class of 2020 graduated and moving on and making sure that we keep the health and safety of our community here. I had an opportunity yesterday to walk around to some duty sections with Chief Sparks and Chief Johnson, who are the USAFA Command Chief and the Cadet Wing Command Chief, and I will tell you, what an awesome experience for them. They don't get to get out in Team 10 very often, but when they do, they are absolutely impressed. And I will tell you that Team 10 didn't look at this as a challenge. Team 10 looked at this as an opportunity. And they seized that opportunity, and I will tell you that Chief Sparks and Chief Johnson were absolutely thrilled, just with the continued morale that's within Team 10. I know sometimes it can be frustrating, understandably, but at the end of the day, you guys rallied and you came together with great attitude. So thanks to each and every one of you for that. So, sir.
All right, Chief. A couple of questions came in. We'll answer those, and then we'll let you get on with your day. The first question was, is there any talk about pausing operations now that graduation has happened for a couple of days to accommodate downtime for personnel to recharge? And I think that I sort of alluded to that in the end. The mission goes on. We continue to have a mission here, although it is quite different than what we're used to. What I've encouraged the group commanders to do, and I know they've encouraged their squadron leadership the same, is to look for those opportunities. The folks that they know have been pedaling pretty hard over the course of these last couple of weeks, and make sure that those folks are getting some time off. So rather than taking a whole wing to take time off or an institution to take some time off, the mission goes on. But what I want to do is make sure that folks are encouraged from those first level supervisors on up to squadron leadership to look for those opportunities to give some folks some time off and to recharge their batteries. And so those will be more targeted opportunities versus a complete down day. I think maybe once we kind of get back to normal, I'm sure there'll be an opportunity to do that later. But right now we're still in the midst of kind of fighting through this COVID. And so I think that pretty much sums up. You know, I would also reiterate that the stop movement from OSD is going to continue, through the month of June. So opportunities to kind of take time down and to recharge really will occur in the local level. But now that things are starting to kind of get back to normal and the weather's looking so good, I do encourage folks to take advantage of that. Know what makes you resilient, and absolutely make sure that you're following through on that. Okay, thanks. Chief?
All right, second question today. With as many people teleworking as possible right now, is USAFA still proceeding with the summer hire program? If so, will they be expected to telework as well? So the summer hire program is progressing as planned. Once these individuals are hired and brought on board, they'll fall into the mission essential status depending upon their duty sections accordingly. So, continue to submit those applications, but the summer hire process is still moving forward.
Okay, someone asked, are the golf courses going to open back up? And what I'll say is the golf course falls into the same category as several of the other services on the base. We're going to take a hard look at all those. There's a couple of golf courses in the community that are open. I know Fort Carson recently reopened their golf course. No club rentals, no golf carts, no short order grill service, but just to kind of go out and walk the course, understanding that there's a component to that helps keep some people resilient, and you can achieve pretty good social distancing. So that's one example of many activities that we're going to look at over the course of this week. And so hope to have more information on that soon. But thanks for the question. As an avid golfer myself, and I know the chief is as well, we'd also look for that opportunity to get out there when it's safe to get out there. So thank you. Chief?
All right. Next question. Air Force Lieutenant General Brian Kelly, Deputy Chief of Staff for Manpower Personnel and Services, said flexible grooming standards may be imposed at the discretion of installation commanders. Will USAFA follow suit now that the senior class has graduated? So back on the 8th of April, the superintendent did sign a temporary waiver for relaxing of grooming standards pertaining to the length and bulk of hair. However, if you are going to be working on base, our barbershops are still open. So we still are going to hold to the guidance of maintaining appearance standards. But if you are, if you're teleworking or you don't reside on USAFA or your work is conducted off base, you can adhere to this temporary waiver. So until further notice, if you come to work in uniform, you still need to be in standards. Just because of our barbershop is still open and you do have the ability to get your haircut. So.
Awesome. And they're going to great lengths in there to wipe every chair down, walk in with your mask. They're wearing masks and they're doing a great job being able to keep that service open for us that are coming in. Someone asked about the gyms, when's the gym going to reopen? There was a reference to Peterson Air Force Base. They actually kept their gym open early on, in this COVID crisis. As soon as they had their first positive case, they actually closed their gym. So their gym has been closed for a couple of months, or at least a couple of weeks, just like ours has as well. As you can imagine, a fitness center with a lot of folks in it, great place for virus to get shed. And so I think out of an abundance of caution, obviously that was one area that we looked to close down early. It's going to fall into that bucket of we're going to relook all the different facilities and services and see what we can open up. No promises at this time. Just know that it's on the table. It's something we're going to look at. I encourage you to maybe get a little bit out of your comfort zone. The weather is turning really nice, and so I know for those hardcore gym rats, you like to be in the gym. Maybe just encourage you to kind of break out of that mold a little bit, work out outside. The stairway from Pine Valley up to the chapel is a pretty good workout. There's places to run outside and still do push-ups and sit-ups, and just to kind of help stay resilient and keep your fitness up, which is so important during this time. But so no promises on the fitness center. Just know that it falls into that category. We're going to relook and see when we think the optimal time is, or the safe time is, to potentially reopen that facility back up. So I think that about wraps up our questions. I think we had maybe one more. Chief, you want to bring us home?
Yes, sir. Last question. Is there any update for when WAPS and EOC testing will be restarting on base? So the answer is we've been testing. We will continue to test on an appointment basis only. As it pertains to the EOC testing, due to the size of the room, we can only do one EOC testing at a time, again by appointment only. And as it pertains to WAPS, we can allow 6 individuals in the testing room, maintaining that physical social distancing. So our WAPS and EOC testing are continuing to go forward. I can tell you, I just received word from AFPC yesterday that they did do the first set of virtual boarding for the senior master sergeant, and had great success with that. So again, it's going to be a little bit slower process, but we're going to get it right and make sure the right folks get promoted. So with that, I think that's it, sir.
Okay. Any closing thoughts, Chief?
Again, we don't know what our priorities moving forward are going to look like, but I will tell you, when we find those out, Team 10 will answer the call like they do every time. So thanks again to Team 10.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you. Appreciate all that you're doing. Continue to take care of yourself, take care of your families. It's absolutely having a strategic effect, both on our mission here and the mission of our Air Force. So keep it up. Stay engaged in the work in your units. Stay connected to each other. Make sure you're checking up on each other, and then stay safe. So thanks for all you're doing, and we'll see you next week.